Hello guys, and welcome back to my channel. So this was actually a video that was supposed to have been done yesterday, but I had some things happen yesterday, and if you watch my daily devotions, then you know what happened, and if you don't, head over there and watch it to find out what happened. It's at the very end of the video, so if you don't want to watch the whole video, just skip through it. But anyway, I did not get to do this yesterday, so I wanted to show you today. So I have been making some cards with some napkins, and this was inspired by Tracy Phillips, who was Gift Basket Appeal here on YouTube. And so I just thought I'd show you what I did. So the first card I made was this one, and I made it with this napkin and this napkin, except this napkin actually had a border around it that looked something like this, and so I just cut the borders off. And then I made a fall card to go with the fall swap that I'm doing, like this. It says Fall Blessings, and so I haven't put anything inside of them, but I just thought I would show you what I used. Now on the fall card, of course, I used the fall napkin, and I use some frayed burlap. No, this is antique linen. I use antique linen stain on the edges of it. And then I use some gold and red and clear stickles on it. And then on this one, I used, after I put the border on it, I used some, what is this one? Frayed burlap, and I used some sponge sugar on it, and these are stains. And then I used some blue stickles that came out really pretty, and some silver on the Eiffel Tower. So let me show you how I made these. They're quite simple. I went ahead and cut everything out just for the sake of time. So what I did here, I took one of the napkins and I cut the Paris thing out, and then I folded some cardstock over a few times. I didn't really want it to be that dimensional, but I wanted it to be dimensional, and so just so that it would stand up on the card. And then I've already cut my napkin, and I peeled off the backing. It's very important that you peel off the backing, because if you don't, once you stick your napkin to it, the top layer is just going to peel off, and all you're going to have is a white layer on your napkin. Trust me, I did this. I forgot to peel off a couple of layers on something. So I'm going to be using that, and then I'm going to be using this big napkin here as a background for my card on the main card itself. And so I think that's a very pretty napkin. So I have to decide what area I want on it. I love the French script on it. So I've already got the card base cut, and I completely forgot to cut the mat. This is a 5x5 card. I wanted it to be able to, you know, to get my napkin on most all of it. But this is a 5x5, and I'm going to cut a mat that is 4 and, I don't know, I want some of the other napkin to show, so I think I'm going to cut a mat that is 4 3/4 by 4 3/4. Get my stains out of the way. And listen, I absolutely adore this Cricut cutter. I may have told you all that before. I love this. I got it from Cricut.com way before I went on to the Stampede journey back in April. And I used, it was on sale for $10. And then I used May Made It. And that's the code for her on Cricut, and you got another 15% off plus free shipping. So I think I only paid like almost $9 for it, and it is the best cutter. I have not changed the blade yet, and I've been cutting very stiff cardstock with that. So here is my base. So what you're going to need is a type of glue. Now you can Mod Podge this, but I didn't want to Mod Podge this. And I saw Tracy Phillips do this, and I thought, well, let me try it. She inspired me to do this. So Tracy, if you're watching, this is from your inspiration. So I'm going to take a piece of paper that I've been fooling around on, and I'm going to glue this. Now it's very important that you get glue everywhere on your paper, because if you don't, then it won't adhere properly. That's why I'm using the Elmer's Go On Purple and Dries Up Clear, because I want to be able to see exactly where my glue is. And I'm going to put a pretty heavy coat on it. Oops. Trying to hold it down and not rub it off too at the same time, and get it all done for the glue dries. But so I'm just putting I'm putting a pretty heavy coat on there so it doesn't dry up on me and gives me time to get it laid on there. Okay. So then I'm going to turn my napkin over, and then I'm just going to place my card down on where I want it. So I know I want the Eiffel Tower and I want the little Paris on there. Now it does not matter if it overhangs, because you can cut that off when it dries. So all I'm doing now is just smoothing it on from the back side. To me, this is a whole lot easier than Mod Podging. Okay. Now, you see how smooth that is? And all I'm doing is taking this is actually the backing from the napkins. These Paris napkins I had got from Tuesday morning, and wow, they are so nice. They were like 3-ply napkins. So I'm just taking this instead of my fingers to rub over it, to smooth it out, make sure I have no wrinkles in it or whatever. Because I really don't want wrinkles in these. But just smoothing it out. And so this is what we have so far. Not pretty. I just think it looks pretty on just like that. But so I'm going to let this dry for a second. And then I'm going to take some scissors and I'm just going to cut the excess off. Or if you wanted to, you could really roll the excess on the back like that and not even bother cutting it off. But I'm going to trim mine off right quick. But you do want to be careful so that you don't separate the paper or cut the cardstock. Oops, or drop it. So I hope you all had a really good Friday. I am one of those people that's saying, thank God it is Friday. Because it's been a difficult week this week. Well, it is not wanting to trim off very well. Because I'm on camera, I had no problem doing this the other night. There we go. But it is easier to cut. Now, I will say, when you cut your napkin, it is a lot easier to cut your napkin first and then peel the layers off. Because it won't be... It's really difficult to cut these in a big chunks like this if this, it's already separated. It's very thin. So, but you do want to get the napkin just a little bit bigger than what you're putting it on so that you can lay it on there nice and even. I know Tracy makes this look so easy cutting it off. Okay. And then anything left, I'm just running my glue down the side of it, along the edges, and tacking it down. That's all I'm doing. And it also gives you a little extra adherence. Okay. So that's what we have so far. Now, you do not want to stickle this until after you adhere it to your card base. So that's one thing done. Now we're going to take our card base and we're going to decide it's going to be a side fold card or a front fold card. And I think we're going to make this front like this, because the other napkin I want to put on it is going to be, I'll let this finish drying over here. So now I'm going to take this big napkin, and I have already peeled the layers off of it as well. So you see it's very sheer. I'm not even, I don't know, you have to decide what you want on it, like what part you want. So I'm thinking, I wouldn't mind having the Eiffel Tower, but you're not going to see it anyway. So I think I'm going to come over here to this corner like this, when it's flipped over like this. And I'm just going to adhere it like right here on the edge. So let me move this momentarily until I get the glue all over it. And the reason I'm doing that is just give it some little extra dimension, just a little extra texture. I like layering it up. Now, I suppose you could do this with regular glue instead of a glue stick, but to me, if you're going to do regular glue, you might as well do Mod Podge, because it's just a big mess. And make sure you get the edges really good. Okay. Move this out of the way. And come over here. Let's see if I'll make this edge better. Okay. Lay my napkin down. And then I'm going to try to line this up with the edge over here. Uh-oh, those are doggies. Shh, guys. No barking, please. Okay, awesome. And you're gonna rub this on the, like you did the other one. And then I'm going to take a paper towel and rub it. Well, not paper towel, the tissue that came off the back of it. Just to make sure. And then we're going to cut this away. Now, you know, if you wanted to, you could continue the glue on the round and put it back on the card, but I don't want an upside down butterfly. So I'm going to cut this off. And don't throw away your napkin pieces, because they're wonderful to put extra texture on, like ATCs or any projects that you're working on. Okay. Alright, so that's what we have there. And we are through with the glue stick. Top back on that. Okay, so now I'm going to take the Paris one, and I'm going to take the spun sugar, and I'm just going to go around the edges with it. We're just adding another layer of color and texture. Make sure this is okay. And I like the pink in it. So I'm just going to go around the edges barely here. But the stain will bleed down into the napkin, and I think that gives it a really nice aged look. And I love this napkin because on one side the Eiffel Tower's on this side and Paris is on this. And then the other half of the napkin is reversed. So you can get 4 different looks from one napkin. Okay, and then I'm just going to go around the edges of the card also. The card stock here. Okay. Let that dry a minute, and then I'm going to take this one here, and I am going to use the, where did I put it? Did it fall? Oh no. Well, I was looking for my frayed burlap, and I know I just had it in my hand. Oh, here's the, antique linen. That's what I was looking for. Wow. How can something disappear right out of your hand? I'll never understand that. Well, come on, we're going to use frayed burlap. This is a pretty stain, too. This is the antique linen, this is the frayed burlap, but, I know, I just had that. Oh, here it is. Table's getting messed up. I'd rather have the the antique linen on this, I think. I like this look. So I'm going to open the card base up, and I'm going to do the same thing on here. I'm just going to go around the edges with the antique linen. So this has been really fun the last couple of days working with the cards because I'm truly using what I have in my stash. I am not buying anything. So now I close the card back up, and I'm just going to go over the edges with the antique linen. Okay. I need to trim this down a little bit better. Okay. That was going to drive me crazy. Okay. So now we are ready to adhere this onto here. And before I do that, now when this dries, it will dry flat. Before we do that, let's put our Paris thing on here. So this is the Paris one, and like I said, I just put it on some thick cardstock. This is very thick. It was like chipboard. And so I'm going to do the edges of it too with the antique linen. I love distressing. I love vintage, and so I just like distressing my edges a little bit. But I like bling too, so I usually combine the both of them. Okay. So now I'm using wet glue. And I'm going to put wet glue on the back of the Paris sign. Remember, I'm just doing this to give it some dimension. I'm going to try to line the pieces up. There we go. So now it's not quite so flat. And then we're going to line this up here. And I just love how this is looking. If you love vintage, these are perfect cards. And you can still find these napkins at Dollar Tree. And I believe, I don't know if they still have these at Tuesday mornings, but you can get any kind of napkin with a vintagey look to it. And I think they'd be perfect. So, okay, now I'm just going to adhere this. Put a little bit up there. Just going to kind of eyeball and get all the edges right. Everybody has a little bit poking out. And see, I love how this looks right here because even though it's not the same pattern, the flowers just kind of blend. Alright. So that's our card. Now, if we just want to leave it like that, I think it's pretty on its own. But, you know me, I want some bling. But isn't that pretty? I just love how those two patterns, even though they're not, they look nothing alike. But on the card, they just sort of blend together. And I really like that look. So, I am going to get my, I call these stickles, and they're actually not stickles. They are, it's just glitter glue. But I am going to use some blue and some clear. I think maybe a little pink. I don't want to go overboard with this, but you know. Now, as with all glitter glue, I don't know about you, this is Crayola. And so I always do a little bit on the first because it comes out wet. And I'm not liking this dark blue, so I'm not going to use that. I'm going to find a light blue one. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so all I'm going to do is just go around the edge where there's a little bit of blue. I'm not going to do it very thick. I'm just kind of highlight it a little bit. Because I did find this takes a little longer to dry. I don't want to glitter everything on the whole card up. Just a little bit. Just to give it a hint in some of the darker places. Okay. I think that's all I'm going to use for the blue. And then I'm going to use some pink here on the flowers. Ooh, I squirted a little bit too much out on that. It's going to take a while to dry. Okay, I really think that's all I'm going to do. I don't want to put too much glitter on this. Just give it a little something, you know. And then I'm going to highlight the Eiffel Tower. I could use silver, but I think I'm going to use iridescent this time. Now, these Crayola stickle glitter glue, whatever you call it, glitter glue, they came from Ollie's, and they were actually part of a winning for a challenge that Michelle Reichard won. and she was texted me and messaged me and said, you know, would you please keep those because I have so much glitter glue, and I didn't buy a set for myself. And I was like, are you sure? Because, you know, they're part of your winnings. And she was gracious when she said, please keep them, you know. Or she would have just passed them on too. So I kept them because I didn't have any. So thank you, Michelle. I really appreciate it. You're very sweet. And I'm just doing the outside lines. I'm not really highlighting all the inside lines. Just kind of following the outside lines a little bit. Maybe this little curve here. Like Tracy, once you get started with something, it's kind of hard to stop. I love stickles. Anybody that knows me, well, if you knew me a while back, I love stickles. I love the glittery glue stuff, and I like vintage too, but I just like the vintage to sparkle a little bit. Okay. So that is all I'm going to do. So I think that is really pretty. Let me know what you think. So these are my cards. See, this is what I'm talking about. On this one, the Eiffel Tower is on the other side. So this card gives you a lot of variety. And then this is the fall one that I did for a swap that I'm doing. So those are my napkin cards. So thank you, Tracy Phillips from Gift Basket Appeal, for giving me the inspiration to do these. And thank you all for watching. So if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and make sure you subscribe to my channel if you've not done so, and make sure you hit the little bell when you subscribe so that you can check each and every video that I put up, and you'll get notified. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. Have a blessed day. Bye.